Thank you. Firstly, I want to thank cacaFly for having us and the whole FunP group, to Nathan and the team for inviting Spotify here, letting us put on some music and sharing 30 minutes of what we have to talk about. Before I begin, wanted to just have a feel of the room. How many of you here are from agencies? All right, that's good. How many of you here are from advertiser side, client side? Okay, so got a lot of partners here, that's good. Okay, so my topic today is about you are what you stream, right? And later on, I have something interesting to share with you as well, where you can also understand your own music pattern. But you are what you stream really embodies what Spotify is about. Today, Spotify isn't just a radio station. It is not just like a hard disk full of music. It is actually a lifestyle. It is a tool that a lot of people around the world uses when they are in specific moments of their day. And for example, if you're waking up, the music that you listen to the time that you go and exercise, the music you listen to. And a lot of this really is enabled because of the data that we have, right? So I wanted to share 3 things that's trending right now that we see from the Spotify company. The first thing really is that we are seeing a very big shift to how people are consuming content. If you think about your daily lives right now, not really as an advertiser or working in an agency, but really for yourself, most of the time when you're on your mobile phone or you're on your desktop or accessing the internet, a lot of things you are doing right now in terms of entertainment really is streaming. Whether it's streaming music, streaming video, or any kind of live content that you have. And we realize that that's really is a big shift in the way people are consuming content. Secondly is that, and I'll explain more later, that music really is a mirror of who you are versus being something that you put up in front of your friends or in front of the public social platform. But really, whatever music you listen to reflects who you are. And thirdly, talking about data and Spotify having a lot of data. In fact, recently in the Cannes Lions Festival, we just announced that on a daily basis, Spotify collects 100 billion data points, right, around the world. That's a lot of data that we're collecting, and it allows us to understand how people are consuming music and who's behind the music that I listen to. So before we go into those 3 points, I wanted to just give you a big snapshot about Spotify, that globally we have about 140 million people. We have, out of 140 million, we have 50 million people who are paying for the subscription, but we have a lot more people who are using Spotify for free. Because literally you can access Spotify and it's not really a trial period. You can continue using it, just that you'll be exposed to advertising, which will help me. Yeah? And out of that, we have 30 million songs. That's a lot of songs for you to access. 30 million, I don't think anyone can listen to 30 million songs, but just goes to show that there is a song for everybody. And if you don't know already, Spotify today is paying a lot of money back into the artists, whether it's the international artists or whether it's the local artists, for example, those that are here in Taiwan. Because for Spotify, what we want to do is to make sure that we allow music to be accessed by everyone, but we also allow the artists, the music makers, the labels, and really the creators to earn from it rather than it being pirated, right? So a lot of things that we do is also fighting piracy. And if you don't know, Spotify isn't an American company. Spotify is actually a Swedish company, right? There's a 101 on Spotify. So we are a very big part of Taiwan today. And when we look at what do we mean by being a big part, it's not just a lot of people that's on Spotify, but really it's the time spent on Spotify, right? Because if you think about it, music is something that accompanies you throughout the day. And 140 minutes basically is more than 2 hours. More than 2 hours every day, someone is on Spotify in Taiwan, or the users on Spotify are on Spotify and consuming music and the different content that we have. So that's why we see and we say that streaming really is the future, because as data gets cheaper, for us to use, and things get faster, right? Literally everything you need is going to be real time. So what we did recently was we worked with one of the agency groups, Group M, to come up with a research on the streaming state of mind and give a bit of understanding of how people are streaming today. This is just a very short clip about streaming state of mind, but at the end you will see a URL where you can download the actual white paper. So Spotify.fy/stream, you can download the actual white paper. Those are just some of the stats. But we have found that half the global population now is streaming. And the time that people are streaming on a platform like Spotify has unlocked a lot of opportunities for brands, for agencies to work with companies like us, whether it's during people who are working out or working moments. In itself, these two moments or these two periods of time throughout a day has unlocked $22 million worth of advertising value. So there is a lot of opportunity for you to reach someone within a live stage that they're at or a live moment in a day. Again, back to Taiwan, we see that 1 out of 5 internet users today are streaming on Spotify, and that is a very encouraging stat for us. I know we have strong competition within the Taiwan market, but for us, really it's about making Spotify a lot better, and soon, we're going to be revamping the platform again just to make sure that people have the best experience when they're listening to music. And out of that, we realized that people in Taiwan loves the kind of playlist that we have created. Sometimes you used to listen to radio and you're like, oh, this is the top 10 list, this is the top 40 list. Today on a streaming platform, the streaming playlists are very important. And you would realize that if you are a Spotify user, the actual playlist that's given to you is very different from everyone else. Just like how when you access Facebook, your newsfeed is different from everyone else's newsfeed. And again, back to the fact that because we have so much data about people who are on Spotify, we are able to do that. So across the 12 months, we realized that people in Taiwan have streamed 13,500 years of music. That is a lot of music, right? And I thank all of you and the population of Taiwan. And from there, we found out that these are some of the popular playlists. Some of you might also be listening to it. But whether it's a hit or it's the daily kind of music or top Taiwan tracks, these are the kind of music that people are listening to. And you don't have to really think about what music you want to choose. But if you land on Spotify's homepage, you can actually see all this being promoted. When you listen to it, you will get updated to the latest music. And then, of course, save some of this music as your own playlist. These are some of the popular artists that are streamed in Taiwan. Of course, we have a lot of local content, but we also have a lot of international content. And people like Chainsmokers, Ed Sheeran are getting a lot more popular. Of course, my own favorite, Coldplay, is there as well. And again, back to this data and how we understand the music. Spotify created something called Discover Weekly. And Discover Weekly is really us understanding your music habits, the artists you like to listen to, the moments in the day that you're listening to music. And then every Monday, you get a whole new list of songs that you've never heard of before. And this is a little video about it. So things like Discover Weekly, things like daily mixes, These are the things that actually help us, push more discovery of music. I mean, long gone are the times where we used to buy one CD, whether legally or illegally, but one CD and then we listen to the tracks on a CD over and over again in our car or at home, right? Today you have so many choices of music, but you want to also make sure that the platform you are on, like something like Spotify, understands you as a person and gives you music that you like, not music that your friends like, right? And recently also we were very encouraged that the streaming habits, the 13,000 over years of music that is streamed just in 1 year. We realized that some of the artists here in Taiwan deserves a lot of support. And we actually partnered with one of your top artists in Taiwan, which is Wu Yue-tian, during their 20th anniversary. We ran a campaign to push this out, whether it's outdoor, pushing the playlists, and also, making sure some of the top soundtracks are in our top Taiwan playlist. And this was it was a very important moment for Wu Yue-tian because they had been around for 20 years. I think a lot of you, all of you know this band. But 20 years ago, they performed in the Da'an Park, right, where they performed to 5 people. Right? 20 years later, they threw the same concert. How many of you were there at this concert? I see some hands raising up. 20 years later, they performed to 100,000 people in the same park where they performed their first concert. So it was a very important moment for them, and we wanted to make sure that we are part of their promotion. We had, of course, a lot of outdoor activation. We had digital activations around Taiwan, around Taipei to promote this. And while we want to make sure that you have personal listening music, we also want to make sure that the artists are fully supported. And that kind of sums the fact that streaming really is in the lives of both, people around the world and also to the Taiwan population here. That brings me to the second point, talking about discovering music, talking about the different choices of music, international music, local music. Music really is a mirror of who you are. If you think about this for a second, for those of you who are still awake, if you think about this for a second, music is a mirror. What does that mean? The music that you listen to, usually in the office or at home or in the car, is your own personal private listening. Most of you are on the headphones when you're listening to Spotify or even KKBox for that matter. And the music you listen to is the music you like, right? It's not a music that you want your friends to think you like, because music is very personal. It really mirrors who you are. So the data that we collect about a person who listens to music really is about this person. Now you compare this to the social platform, right? Whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, on Twitter. When I post something out on Facebook, I don't just post something out. I spend at least 2-3 minutes on it. Why? I must make sure I put the right filter. Is this a nice picture? Was it a good moment? Does it make me look good? Do I put words that I put up must be very nicely written? I put a filter to my life on social platform. But when it comes to music, it is not a filter. It is who you are, right? And why we know this? Because we have 100% locked-in audience, right? Everybody on Spotify is logged in, and 70% of them are actually logged in from Facebook. It is the same identity listening throughout. And we understand the psychographic insights from the time of day you listen to, the location you are at when you're listening to music. What are you listening to on that day? Weekend, weekday, at night, morning, afternoon, right? And this lifelong behavioral data brings us to what we really call, as I mentioned earlier on, moments. Moments of the day, moments where brands can connect with a user on Spotify because they are in a different mindset. For example, if I'm exercising versus when I'm eating, versus when I'm going out for a party, versus when I wake up in the morning is very different, right? Looking at the data we have here in Taiwan, these are the top 5 moments in Taiwan. The chill music, chilling is a very important moment in Taiwan. Most of us are very stressed from work, from our daily lives, and you want to chill. So chilling is a very big moment, meaning we understand that a lot of people in Taiwan are listening to music that's very chill, right? Working out, exercising is also very important. Whether you're in the gym, you're doing yoga, you are at the, you are running out in the park, right? These are workout moments. Focus is when people want to focus on like work. For example, if you're studying or you're in the office working, traveling and romance. You know, romance is very big as well in Taiwan. So these are the kind of moments that people are in. Now, if you think about this for a second, I'm not targeting someone by their age, by their gender, right? Or even by time of day. I'm not targeting someone from time of day. If I am, let's say, Nike. Nike is a big advertiser with us, and Nike is interested to target someone with their new shoes. I don't really say, oh, I'm going to target people in the morning and the evening because I think they exercise during that time. I target someone exactly at the a workout moment, for example, right? Working out, which means someone is actually exercising. When my brand reaches out to them at the moment that they're exercising, the advertising effect is a lot better. So think about these kind of moments. Now, I mentioned earlier, we also want to, let you understand your own music streaming. So this site, Spotify.me, is now live, but it's going to go live with Taiwanese translation starting Monday, which is the 16th of July, I think. Starting Monday, it will go live. You can try it out, Spotify.me. If you're a Spotify user, log in with your account, and then it will tell you your listening habits, the kind of person you are, the kind of music you listen to, who's your favorite artist, and give you a history about who you are as a Spotify user. So it's really about understanding people through music. Like, what's your latest song that you're listening to? What's your go-to song that you have always been, listening to every month? For example, if it's David Bowie, do you pump up the volume? Is your song danceable? Are your tracks acoustic? These are the kind of data that you will get. It's quite fun. This Spotify.me, try it out if you're a Spotify user. If you're not a Spotify user, it's a download away, okay? And Spotify is free to download. So this is Spotify.me. This is actually, just for the fun of it, this is mine. Right, I'm a huge Coldplay fan, so that's I love Coldplay. I listen to music a lot about 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I've streamed, since June 3rd, 392 minutes. These are some of my average beats, and these are some of the songs that I've been listening to that is new. I like a lot of pop songs. And, I'm all over the place, meaning I listen to pop, I listen to classical, I listen to rap, I listen to hip-hop, so all over the place. And you are what you stream, so you are full of energy in terms of the music that I have. We have a lot of different category of who you are. I am turned. And at the end of this, Spotify will give you also a new playlist that you can listen to. So this Spotify.me, try it out, all right? So the third point, which is my last point, is after talking about the moments, talking about the people that's on Spotify, I want to share with you how using all this data can create some of the advertising and marketing opportunities that are on Spotify. And just to recap, when I talk about, Spotify music is a mirror of who you are, we really want to reach out to people in the right mindset. Not just reach out to people on the right platform or on the right time, but really when people are in that mindset to accept your advertising message. We are across, Nathan mentioned just now, we're very strong in video, of course, but at the heart of Spotify really is also the audio. Just now his map was very big, there was no category, but if there was a category on audio, Spotify will be there, right? Because we are audio everywhere, and when people listen to music, they're on their headphones, you don't really turn off the sound, right? So when a message comes to you on audio, it is very strong. I mean, traditionally there's radio, but radio normally happens when you're playing it at home. You could be at home in the afternoon, children making a lot of noise, or in your car, you're concentrating on traffic. When's the last time you remember 5 ads that you heard on the radio? But when you're on a personal listening platform like Spotify, the sound that goes through is very, very personalized. There is no way that you will miss a message that's given to you. And then, of course, we have a lot of display opportunities as well. But just to share 2 examples, this is what we talk about audio everywhere, right? So when you are on Spotify, there are audio breaks, and this is only to the free users, of course. But the audio breaks can be very, very creative. And recently, we talked about how we do 3D immersion. So if you can turn up the volume slightly, you can just experience. Imagine if you close your eyes right now, and you're listening to music, and then you finish a song, before the next song, a commercial like this comes out. Is it very strong in terms of the brand recall?
And done. Boom. That's enough number crunching for one day. The only crunching I want now is on Nando's irresistible sweet potato chips. So crispy and crunchy on the outside, whilst ever so soft on the inside. Get to your local Nando's now, try their new sweet potato chips, and fall in love at first bite.
So as a audio ad, we call it a 3D immersion. You can actually have sounds coming from the left, right, front, back. Now we're in a big hall, you might not feel it, but imagine if you have your headphone on. If you are taking care of a brand or you're an advertiser, you think about the message that you can give to someone. You can literally talk to them into their ears at that point. That's how strong, that's what we call the power of audio. Of course, we've got video. I'll just go through very quickly. But the strength of our video is nobody mutes Spotify, right? The sound is always on. So sometimes, you know, when you're putting
I love my sleep, but I need my morning run. I find my shoes and go wake Pete. Yeah, my lab likes to sleep in. Once I find my keys, we're out the door. And even when it's crowded, that run is worth it, because on the way home, there's a coffee with my name on it. Then I...
So it's kind of like a total takeover, but I wanted to show this because, yes, video ads, we see it everywhere. We see it on YouTube, we see it on Facebook, we see it everywhere, right? But on Spotify, the video that we have is based on, you know, we just listened to very good, you know, tracking just now about surveys and user data. But when you think about the effectiveness of a video ad, like for example, I mean, I'm not dissing YouTube, but you know, every time the video comes on, it's, you know, we're ready to skip. But if you are on Spotify, of course, it's non-skippable. But what's more important is that it is human, real people watching the video. Is audible, because nobody mutes streaming, audio streaming platform, and then it's viewable on completion. For those people who are in agencies, this is a very important standard nowadays. And of course, on Spotify, you are only charged when the last second of the video finishes, right? But we also have very interesting thing that we're doing on our platform. For example, this was done in Australia recently with Star Wars, and it kind of does a homepage takeover. So it's not just the fancy animation, but we tie Star Wars back to the fact that there are different playlists. So you can join the Empire's music playlist, you can join the Resistance music playlist. You know, these are the kind of things that we do where we combine music with your advertising message. In Taiwan, I keep mentioning about the playlists. In fact, Taiwan is a country in Asia that has the most followers and the most engagement when it comes to playlists that's created. So we realized that, you know, with playlists that we have, that Spotify curates and creates, we wanted to let brands, you know, get involved in it. Instead of brands trying to create their own, we let brands sponsor some of these playlists. So this is just to introduce to you how we now have the top playlists in Taiwan that brands can actually sponsor for 2 to 4 weeks. So these are some of the top playlists that a brand can sponsor. Why would you want to sponsor a playlist? It's because we already have a lot of followers and you want to own the category. For example, the top songs from Taiwan, you want to be seen as supporting it. A lot of brands actually come to us and say, we want to support the local music. This is also one of the ways that you can do it. Last example, before I show you 2 new products that we're going to be launching. The last example is, again, this whole segment is talking about the data that we have, right? And just like how you do special executions on Facebook with API, we also have an API that we allow advertisers to use. And that API basically plugs into Spotify, allows you to pull information out and be able to do something very creative with it. For example, I can actually log into Spotify. Let's say I am with an airline, let's say EVA Air. EVA Air can actually do this with us to say, click, enter your Spotify login or login via Facebook, and then I can analyze your past listening music and understand who is this person, and say, you know, you are more suitable to go to maybe Bali. Because of the music you listen to, it's more suitable for you to go to Paris, right, to the US, to Singapore. You know, things like that, we are able to pull information. Now, this case study I wanted to show you is slightly different. It's actually understanding that people are listening to music all the time, and you can actually connect people via the music they're listening to. This is done in Turkey. The narration will be not even in English, it's going to be in Turkish. But at the same time, it actually is a campaign done by Unilever, the brand X, and they wanted to allow single, non-married people to connect with each other. If you read the words below, and if you see the title, it's called One Song Stand. It's a play on the word one night stand. It's quite interesting.
Axe Black Knight sunar. One Song Stand. Aynı şarkıyı dinlediğin anda eşleştiren, sohbet ettiren Axe sitesi. Yok çekiniyorum, aman ayıp olacak falan demeden tatlı tatlı müzik zevkine göre tanıştıran site. onesongstand.com'dasın. Spotify hesabınla bağlan. Cinsiyetini seç, sonra kimle eşleşmek istersen onu. Dinlemek istediğin şarkıyı arama çubuğuna yaz ve dinle. Senle aynı şarkıyı dinleyen biri olduğu anda kader ağlarını örsün, sohbet alanı açılsın. Hadi tanışın, kaynaşın. Eşleştikten sonra bir şarkılık zamanın var. Elini çabuk tut. Yoksa şarkı bitti, seninki gitti. İlk şarkıda her şey güzel gidiyorsa bir sonraki şarkıyı seç, aynı kişiyle devam et. Hatta solda onun sevdiği şarkıları göreceksin. Oradan yürü. Ya sen nasıl fedakar, nasıl düşüncelisin sen öyle ya? Spotify arada sırada komşu teyze gibi kafasını uzatabilir. Pencerenin önüne çıkabilir. Aranıza kimsenin girmesine izin verme. Hemen siteye geri dön ve olanı biteni oradan takip et. Baktın kimseyle eşleşemiyorsun. Arama sayfasının altında o anda dinlenen şarkıları göreceksin. Sen işini bilirsin. Müzik zevkleri tuttu. Sohbet güzel, şarkılar güzel, koku güzel, hayat sana güzel.
Just to summarize that very quickly, basically you log in, I know the music you're listening to, you choose, let's say I'm a guy looking for a girl, the girl logs in, if they're playing the same song at the same time, the chat box will open. But you only have till the time of the song finishes to chat, right? But if you like each other, you can start a playlist together, right? So these are the kind of executions, creative stuff that we can do with Spotify and the data that we have. Last bit really is about the new products that we're launching. Again, while we're supporting a lot of advertisers, we're reaching out to the users, making sure music is discoverable. We also want to help artists and promote them. So we're trying to marry both of this. One of the things that we're doing is called Backcheck. I'm going to skip through very quickly because I saw that I only have 3 minutes left. But basically working with an artist. So for example, if it's a member of the Wu Yue Tian band, right? You want to see what is what is in his bag when he's carrying around on his daily life. You can actually run this campaign that actually sits on Spotify, and you will be able to see what the music artist has in the bag. Of course, as a brand, you can plant your product in there as well. So this one is for Zara Larson.
The things I carry while on tour are super important to me when I'm traveling from city to city. Horoscopes are my favorite thing ever, so I carry an astrology book to see what signs people are. My denim jacket, never without a cute pin, and sunglasses to complete the look. And of course, my headphones. A journal for my lyrics. And my favorite tea to always keep my voice on point. I'm Zara Larson, and this is my bag check.
So it's a very, very easy way to get your product placed within with an artist, and it doesn't cost you a lot. You don't have to be, this artist doesn't have to be your ambassador, right? And the team is going to start launching this soon in Taiwan. The last thing is really Spotify buzz. Again, when I mentioned a lot of brands wants to be seen and also really genuinely wants to help the local artists within each country. So when we look at our data, we actually know a new artist or an artist that's starting to get popular, and we can look at the trend of what people are listening to. And this artist we can actually help push. So this is an opportunity for brands to come in and push this via Spotify buzz and own the content for the first 2 weeks to release out to their fans or to the users, as seen as you are helping to push this this band or this artist. So this was something done in Europe for Spotify Buzz. Whatever you see now is the kind of content that the brand can own for the first 2 weeks before it's released out to public.
I like playing music and writing music because I think it's the best thing that I can do, though I'm very good in a lot of things.
Again, we used to think about partnering an artist, and it takes a lot of effort, licensing, etc. But when you work with someone like Spotify, it's very easy to build. Of course, we can't do this with a very, very famous artist. It's a lot easier to do it with up-and-coming artists. And most of them, we know from the trend that they're going to be popular very soon. In fact, a lot of artists that's popular today, in the last maybe 5 years, were helped to be pushed by Spotify, and they became who they are today. So that's the Spotify Buzz, which we're going to be rolling out as well. Basically, it's shooting a music video for a new artist, whether it's in a very personal space like their home, or sometimes in Europe, it's shot in the Spotify office, right? So whatever I've tried to explain today, whatever I spoke about, really is summarized again back to the 3 points that we spoke on. The first one is that we are seeing a change. You cannot escape the fact that consumers today are streaming, right? They want information, they want entertainment, they want content in real time, right? Music is one of it. Video, of course, is second. People like Netflix and iFlix, etc. And even here in Taiwan, you have your own, companies that also doing streaming. But it is, right here, right now, music is the mirror of who you are. But how this translates on really is that the data that we have, right, the intelligence that we get from music streaming helps us understand the users, but more importantly as well to the group here is to help advertisers and agencies connect with them, right? If in the past you were thinking that Spotify, I work with Spotify if I have an artist that I'm supporting or if I have a music strategy, that is something that I hope that you don't think about anymore. You work with Spotify because Spotify has data about users. You work with Spotify because we have a very strong base in Taiwan that reaches out to the millennials aged 18 to 35. These are the kind of people you want to engage. Music is a way to engage them. There's a lot of creative things that we can do, as you've seen. But really, in most parts of Europe and US, Spotify is a very serious media platform, just like Facebook and Google today. So I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you, Regional President of S South Asia, Yen.